Hello, and welcome to another episode of Riding in Cars with Books. I'm Jaclyn.
And I'm the Eye Candy.
And today we're going to be discussing Barnstormers by Scott Snyder and Tula Lotay.
I'm sorry. It is by Tula Lotay and Scott Snyder. It says so on the cover.
Okay, you're right. Tula Lotay and Scott Snyder. Barnstormers, a ballad of love and murder.
Dun, dun, dun.
It is published by Dark Horse. It was a Comixology original story, so it was published online before it was in print.
Yep, that's correct.
And fun fact is we have original art from this book.
We do.
It's not a page, but
It's a panel.
it's...
Tula does her art differently than some people. So, yeah.
Anyways, Barnstormers. I'm going to read you the synopsis, and you can interject your thoughts as I read. Ready?
Ready? Okay.
It's the 1920s, the late days of the barnstorming era, when pilots competed with each other by performing deadlier and more wondrous feats. Pilot Hawk E. Barron, who claims to be a survivor of the horrors of the Great War, now lives his life adventuring from town to town in his plane, entertaining the common folks, most of whom have never seen a car, let alone a plane. And his world changes when he meets Tilly, a young woman who shares his passion for aviation and adventure.
Sure.
I would like to interrupt and say that's not really true, but we'll get there.
They meet when she has a shotgun.
Yes. They become a traveling act, delighting folks with their antics. Tilly even becomes Hawk's wing walker, climbing out of the wing of the plane mid-flight to perform death-defying acrobatics.
All that is true.
All of that is very true. When they learn they are suspected of a horrific crime, their journey becomes an even deadlier race against time. Along the way, they bond, confessing their secrets, and begin a romance in this lush, character-driven series that explores the early days of aviation and the evolving relationship and romance between two young pilots. This Bonnie and Clyde romp brings together writer Scott Snyder and the breathtaking illustrations of Tula Lotay, her longest sequential work to date.
Man, that's a long synopsis of a book.
They really make it glossy.
Wow. Man,
So my first thought is...
that was almost as long as the book.
I know. Okay, so it is true that Hawk E. Barron is a barnstormer,
It is true.
and he gets a tip from a radio lady. What were they called?
I don't know. Just move on.
The radio people in
Yeah.
the 20s? To fly...
Radio personalities.
Yeah. No, they intercept the calls.
I don't know. You read the book.
You did too!
Yeah, like 8,000 years ago.
Telephone operator. So he gets her to
I
phone.
think when she's trying to say radio, she doesn't mean radio like you listen to music. She means radios like in the 20, like a CB radio type thing.
Breaker 19.
So that is the issue that we're having here. The radio in 1920 is like a CB radio.
Okay, anyways.
Okay.
He calls into the telephone operating station and gets one of the girls to warn this town that he's coming to fly his plane and he's going to be offering rides up in his plane. And so he flies over
For
like
cash.
99 cents. And he flies over, but unbeknownst to him, school word, he crashes a wedding. Right?
That's what they say.
Am I doing good here?
Sure, you're doing great, love.
Keep
it going.
This is my synopsis, okay? He crashes a wedding, and this hoity-toity Leonardo DiCaprio-looking Gatsby guy is like, "What are you doing?" And doesn't really like him, so they get in a fight.
Fight.
And they tie him up in the barn. But that's not why it's called Barnstormers.
No, Barnstormers are actually the people who flew the airplane.
So he wakes up in this barn, handcuffed, and he's like, "What the heck?" And he realizes he got out of his handcuffs, and he's like, "What the heck?" So he goes back to his plane, and when he gets back to his plane, there is the bride with a shotgun and saying, "You're going to take me on
away from here,
yes. Please." Threatens with a shotgun.
Yeah. Basically, she's getting married to someone who's not a nice man.
Not a very nice man. I'm telling you, he looks like Gatsby though, like the blonde highlights. And so they fly away, and then the rich lunatic guy, he's like, she's been kidnapped, and oh my god, we gotta find him. So they get this private investigator guy involved, Zeke.
Yes.
Who turns out to be narrating this whole thing.
And then shenanigans ensues.
And then the shenanigans that they mentioned on the back do ensue. Okay. But I wouldn't call her a pilot that is interested in aviation. No. She's just trying to get away. She was born a farmer, and her farm was not doing so well because of this douchebag that she agreed to marry to save her family's farm, basically.
There you go. Yes. So basically it is kind of a, like, I guess it is kind of a Bonnie and Clyde type scenario.
Yeah.
Where they're running from the PI and the rich guy. I mean, they're not really stealing from people, though.
Yeah, they are. They pretend to be rich people and steal from them and then fly away to somewhere else.
They're more like Robin Hood at that point.
Yeah, really. And I love the theme of the 20s because it really, all the parties and the glamour, and her pearl or diamond or whatever kind of necklace was like so glowy. Oh my gosh, where are you going?
I'm going this way.
Okay. The art was breathtaking, but she does learn to fly the plane, and she also faces her fears of getting on the wing, which was really cool. And they fall in love. Aww. She wasn't kidnapped. She just wanted to get away from you. And of course, the past catches up. And he has demons in his past too, and he tells her all about them. And the robot was kind of creepy. Wasn't really sure what was happening there, but he basically has PTSD.
Yes. From
an accident that happened at
many years ago,
wherever he was working, and he got electrocuted, hit his head, both, something like that.
It all went wrong.
So then he now has visions of this like robot guy like chasing him. So he's running away from his past. She's running away from the guy that she was supposed to marry. They fall in love, and they live happily ever after.
Oh, you're adorable.
Okay. So that's the premise of the book. Now that I've been talking for 7 minutes.
Do they live happily ever after?
That's a great question. But before we get there...
Okay.
I haven't really spoiled anything yet. That's all on the back of the book. What were your thoughts and feelings of this book?
Well, I do like the Scott Snyder, right?
I read his Batman.
Right. So if I'm going to be honest, I mainly read it because I'm like, it's Tula Lotay.
Her art is gorgeous.
And her art is gorgeous. I love everything taking place in the 20s, so I love it being a period piece. There's not I'm not going to say that the story itself is overly original in the sense of a lady's been forced to marry some rich guy and then runs off with someone else in that sense. But I will say that the originality comes in how it's done.
Yes.
With the Barnstormers, with that whole culture of the Barnstormers at that time, with the wars. World War I
is a backdrop.
Yeah, the World War I is a backdrop of what these planes and what these people are doing. Mm-hmm. So I do find it kind of interesting in that. I do think it's a good point that if you do like the Gatsby stuff, you'll love this.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely, you'll like the writing. The art in it is still amazing.
Look at this Jenny Friesen variant cover. Like, OMG. Tilly is gorgeous.
But like the way Lotay does all of her sequential art and everything in this, and the coloring is done really well. It's all portrayed very well through her art. It's very warm and colorful.
Doesn't he look like Gatsby? He almost kind of looks like Johnny Depp here, honestly.
But I love the book. I thought it was, but I like period pieces, right? Like I'm a fan of period piece stories, when they're done really well.
I just loved it so much.
And I think the characters I think they're for. So I think this only came out in like 3 issues, but they were 3 oversized issues.
It's 5 chapters.
Yeah, it's 5 chapters, but it came out in single issues. It came out in 3 issues. It was
3.
basically 3, but I think online it was 5. The way they did it when it was Comixology.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of story. Everyone is fleshed out really well with the writing and the art.
I like the unknown narrator. You figure out who he is eventually, but he's kind of
Yeah, so your main characters aren't narrating the story.
no. And then I liked how it ended because he says that he did this thing, but then maybe that's not actually what happened.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is handled. Like once again, it's not the 2 main characters are not narrating. It's really a third character that does have a part in this story, but not.
Yeah, Zeke is like the private investigator dude.
But it's really him telling this story, right? Like
Yeah.
It's everything
about
that
the murder and
it's everything that he found out about while he was trying to get her back for the rich dude.
Oh, the horrific crime that they were supposedly committed was actually Gatsby. I'm just gonna call him that because I don't remember his name. He started shooting at him in a kitchen where there was like oil.
Right.
So the house caught on fire.
Right.
And turns out they had a shit ton of alcohol in the building.
They were bootlegging.
Yeah, they were bootlegging because Prohibition. So the house just went up in flames.
For you people who don't know, there was a time that the government said you can't have alcohol.
Yep. So that was a thing. And they read about it in the paper that they were the ones that caused that problem, even though it really wasn't their problem.
So what was your thought?
I freaking loved it so much. And I have this thing for the mystery of Amelia Earhart, and this just like made me feel like this could have been a story of what happened to her. She flew out into the abyss with a man she loved. This is nothing to do with Amelia Earhart.
Nothing.
I'm just saying this woman looks like she could be Amelia Earhart.
If you like period pieces, if you like great art, if you like great writing, this is a really good story for you.
Love and war.
Yep.
And mystery and intrigue.
All right. I think we've handled this one enough.
And there's some great bonus content in here.
In the trade, yes.
Yes. Of how they created the logo, all the different covers, the concept art. It's just beautiful. Highly recommend it. Barnstormers by Tula, Lotay, and Scott Snyder.
Woohoo!
It's actually called Barnstormers, A Ballad of Love and Murder.
Ooh.
To get the title correct. But yes. We love it. You will love it too. Check it out.
Woohoo!
Okay. That's all I have.
Bye.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.